Hey, everybody, it's your girl off the dock B. She's in the building. And guess what? We got a special treat for you tonight. Oh, yeah. I got my co host, Azzam in the building. Triple A. Abdul Azim is in the
Oh,
building,
Jay.
baby. Woo, baby. And let me tell you something. He ain't working tonight. He getting interviewed, okay? Why? Because he's celebrating 29 whole years.
Come
Woo!
on now. Show that love.
Let's go. Give it up for Azam, baby. It's going down. It's going down. Let me tell you. I'm so happy this opportunity. So let me tell you about Bring It to the Table. Bring It to the Table is a safe space. It really is for anyone, everyday people like you and me who have overcome, conquered, and survived anything and is living beyond your dreams. Traumatic life's experiences have been spoken about on Bring It to the Table. Safe, freedom is what you're going to get. Listen,
Mm.
justice and equality is what we stand for here, right? Doing the right things for the right reason, right? So listen, tonight, don't forget, go to www.orthodocb.com and get your book. She's back on tour, especially in Atlanta. She's on that local tour right now. And after I pass my next set of credentials, next couple of months, she'll be going on a worldwide tour. So
What's up?
we want to thank our higher powers. We say Allah. I don't know what you say, but guess what? God is one God. And we thank him for opportunities and spaces like this to help people heal from trauma, addiction, mental health, domestic violence, anger, all that theft. Yeah, people steal. That's addiction. Look, social media addictions, all kinds of things we talk about here, especially that stuff that going on in the Black community and in your family. Ooh, I had a family member die recently, and I went home to Newark, New Jersey to bury him. Rest in peace, L Dog. And when I say the love that I received, the love and the healing that is taking place is so important. How free do you really want to be?
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
Bring It to the Table is a safe space. And I said that once, twice, three times for you to come and discuss anything that you have overcome, conquered, and survived. And we're addressing everyday people like you and me, the hardworking folks like Azam, right, Zam?
Absolutely.
So let me
Absolutely.
get to my co-host. How you doing today, buddy?
Listen, man, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum
Peace,
salam,
blessings, love upon us all. I'm so excited to be here. You know, it feels a little strange. Like I'm feeling dual diagnosed right now. You know what
You
I'm
on the
saying?
other side, buddy?
A guest and a co-host all in one. You know, but I'm thankful, sis, man. Man, love you,
Mhm.
faith, and I'm grateful for you. You know, I'm just excited. You know, like overly excited with all that's been going on in my life in this last 29 years of being clean. You know.
Mhm. So I'm going to do Azam. I'm going to interview Azam, y'all. Okay. So please click like and share. That's so important that you invite people to the broadcast tonight because there's going to be so much information, full of information, okay, to help you to heal and get free from the bondage of addiction, mental health, and your traumatic life experience. Stop keeping it a secret. Stop
Mhm.
it. Stop holding it back.
That's right.
Pour out. Pour it out because the more you get out, the new stuff can get in. As long as it's sitting there, ain't nothing going to get in. Okay. So I'm going to start with Azam. Zan said, I feel like I'm dual diagnosed today because I'm on this side and that side. Well, you explained that right. So Azam, who is Exam? And I want you to talk about who Exam is, but I also want you to go all the way back to where you grew up at. I want to know about where you grew up. Did you move around? Where did you grow up? And then when you grew up, this is a two-part question. Who actually raised you? All right. Or what? Because sometimes it's the street. You'll tell your story. So that's your first question for the audience.
So, and again, good evening, everyone that's here. Click like and share. We are in the building. You know, so to my earliest recollection, thank God for a loving grandmother who took me and my three sisters. And I need to share why, because my mother and my father was both heroin addicts. Although I didn't find that on till years later. But when you ask who did I grow up with, it was my grandmother. She was an immigrant from Puerto Rico, right? Immigrant from Puerto
You
Rico.
Puerto Rican?
Oh, absolutely. I'm half Puerto Rican. Yeah, yeah.
Damn, it's Puerto Rican, y'all. You speak Spanish? You speak Spanish?
I understand it better than I speak it.
Okay.
Yeah. So growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, right? They call Brownsville never ran, never will. My grandmother was the number runner. So you figure, I'm going to break it down. I was born in 1964. So I must have lived with my grandmother in the late 60s, right? Because I remember living with my grandmother from the age of maybe 3 till I was about 9. But I know I was still in public school. And growing up there, she had sons. One was went in and out of jail. One was a construction worker. One was a college graduate. One was another user. I had an uncle that was a nurse. He was from Puerto Rico, though. So these was my first. When you talk about the function in the family, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't really that dysfunctional, except on holidays when they had these parties. Because from a Puerto Rican side of my family, they always drank on New Year's, Christmas, and all of that. So I grew up in that environment, but it was still something about it where that, and I don't know this until I get clean, what I'm sharing now, where this addiction was being planted then. So I don't know that because I'm getting a piece of all these different uncles, man, and I remember going to Fresh Air Fund, you know what I'm saying, as a child, and my interactions there was, I was a good kid, man, you know what I'm saying, growing up, the honor roll, attendance and all that. So that's where it started at in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and I lived with
Brooklyn. Okay.
And that's what that was like as a kid. And I didn't have a lot of, I remember I didn't have a lot of male cousins around me except a few of them, which was my uncles, and they was more like little brothers to me. Check this out. I'm the oldest male on my mother's side of the family. I'm the first grandson. So it started with me, and that's what it was like growing up there. I catch resentments because you just asked me about a long time, because for whatever reason they didn't speak to us in Spanish. They spoke broken English, right? They did the best that they can. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at us, you have to really know Puerto Ricans so you can see it in us. Or we was around my mother, then you can see, damn, he looks like his mother. She looks like the mother. Then you would know. Because my mother got, to this day, she's 84 years old and still got her broken English accent.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what that was like.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But then eventually my mother left my father.
Right.
And at one point we was able to go see my mother. Like one of my mother brothers, she used to come get us from Brownsville, then take us to East New York to go see my mother. So we were just like getting business with her now.
So Brownsville and New York is still in New York, but it's like a distance. It's like
that's a part of Brooklyn. Yeah.
It's like it's a part of Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn
it's a part of Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn is, man, when I'm telling you big and huge, Brooklyn is real big. So Brownsville was a section of Brooklyn.
Okay, right? I understand.
And then East New York is a section of Brooklyn. So my uncle
I understand.
New York, she was, because my mother was the oldest out of all her brothers. She's the oldest. Right? Okay. And he would come get us. He was also a number runner, you know what I'm saying, and did his thing, drugs and all of that. So they both came from that era. You know what I'm saying? So he would pick us up in his little station wagon and in and take us to see my mother.
Okay, I understand. And it's my family played numbers too. They gambled, fish fries, played numbers. I remember we talked about that once on the podcast before. Thank you for sharing that, because my family loved numbers. We played numbers. My family still play numbers today.
Double,
they
triple.
Still, I'm telling you now. Wait, what they used to call it when you hit double child, I can't remember.
They
used to play with. They used to, and so that an addiction has been around in my family for decades. So thank you for sharing that with us. And so now, and how old were you when you grew up there?
Well, as far as I can remember, because I did. So the earliest picture that I seen, I was probably about 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old, when I was at my grandmother's house. It's about
Okay.
3 or 4 years old. I had a
All
little
right.
trench coat on. Yeah.
Where'd you go for elementary school? And did you complete 8th grade?
Yeah, right.
Talk
Well,
about
I
those
started
years.
off right there with my grandmother, elementary school. I started off right there, the public school, right across the street from my grandmother's house. She always made sure we had oatmeal and Bustelo coffee. If you know about Spanish coffee, it was Bustelo.
That yellow can.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's my junk right there.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what it was. And I think we stood there until I got up to maybe the 8th grade, because 8th grade is still public school. Because I know when I moved with my mother, I was going to the 3rd grade, 3rd or 4th grade, when my mother finally got us back. And that's when we moved to East New York. And then that's when it really changed then. Because I wasn't around my uncles anymore. And now I'm around nothing but the hood now. And my father's not there. Then it kicked in. Like, hold up, I'm fatherless. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as I was around my uncles, there was male figures. I don't know nothing about role models, but there was male figures around, like always around. But then now when I moved with my mother, now it's my mother and my 3 sisters, and I'm the youngest. And now we're in East New York.
Okay.
So that playing cops and robbers with somebody, I didn't have none of that in the house.
Okay.
So immediately, again, and I don't identify, the lack of acceptance, and I'm feeling different than everybody else. When I come outside, my friends, they got brothers, they got male cousins, there's a bunch of them, and I would be the only one. You know what I'm saying? So I already felt indifferent, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm seeking for something, right? I'm seeking.
I understand. I understand. And so now eighth grade. So nothing traumatic other than your parents not being there, right? And you being raised by your grandmother. By the 8th grade was the most thing that happened that was traumatic in your life in that span.
Well, one of the first traumatic things that I also remember now, when I finally moved with my mother, if you recall, we live in poverty. So we didn't have a baseball field or anything like that. We had lots where building probably used to be as a dirty lot. And this is where we played baseball at. And one of the first traumatic experiences that I had was just living in a drug-infested area. I remember playing baseball one day, and I only did this again since I've been clean, this surface, right? And I got a bat in my hand. They used to always be out there gambling. And 2 dudes got into a beef over the dice game, and he smacked the dude. But then the dude ran to me and snatched the bat out my hand. The guy came at him with a big stick, and he threw the bat. The bat deflected off the pipe and hit him in his head, and he died.
Ooh.
So that's the first thing I seen as an 8-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And I also grew up around, there was a lot of gangs, like they used to call them the Crazy Homicide, Montauk Chest Breakers, Buccaneer Lords, and I'm young. And when it was crazy having to go to junior high school now, because they was always out there trying to draft people into gangs, and then marijuana came into play immediately because my mother was still selling drugs. She was selling marijuana. I don't know, you remember when they had the brown bags, you could roll 15 joints.
I do.
So now that comes into play, you know what I'm saying? And the Mag Dog 2020, my sister used to be home, One Life to Live, All My Children, General Hospital, over Thunderbird or Mad Dog 2020, and smoking weed. And
absolutely.
So and then I remember my mother eventually got a factory job. She used to work at a factory, so she'd be gone all day, and they would play hooky. And those were the early days of, again, now getting outside myself, and then it went on, that went on for a little while, because junior high school, that's when it really took off, you know what I'm saying? Because
so junior high is 6th grade, 7th grade.
Yeah, it's not
7th through 10th or something like that.
Yeah, 7th through the 9th. No,
9th, okay.
6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
6, 7, and 8 is junior high school.
All right, so let me just say hi to the audience real quick, okay? Hi, Bika. Thank you for joining. Hi, Bill. Thank you for joining. Hi, Shamira. Thank you for joining. Hi, Carolyn. Thank you for joining. Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Thank you for joining. Sister Jenna is in the building tonight. We really do appreciate you. I do not see Africa on tonight. You know, he always be on.
Yeah, where's my man at?
I don't know. I don't see him, though. But anyway, we thank you all for joining. Bring it to the table. We really do appreciate you. This is a safe space, and Azzam is celebrating 29 whole years.
That's hard. Throw it
I
up.
got my gang signs 29. Congratulations. And he's already dropping nuggets on us. He told us about his initial impact of trauma, being in and not playing in regular parks and doing things in the hood, and being raised by his grandmother because both his parents were addicts, active addiction. So grandma took him and raised him. So we thank you all for joining. We really do appreciate it. I'm going to go to the next question. Is that safe to say? Am I good?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. So now we're talking about 9th, 10th grade in high school. What was that like for you?
That got crazy because you figure at 14, you know what I'm saying? Smoking weed, Jehovah's Witness come to the house, you know what I'm saying, knocking on the door. They tell me about the Trinity and all of that, and that I should pray through a particular person and all that. None of this is making sense. So immediately I say, and now I run into some people, they told me that the black man was God, right? So at this point, I say, you know what? My father not in my life, this and that, that's good for me. And I become an atheist at that point. You know what I'm saying? I stopped believing in, I don't know if I ever really believed in God, because when we went to church, it was always because it was a holiday. You know what I'm saying? On Christmas, on Easter, you know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So it was like, you know, it was a holiday God. It ain't like we went regularly. We went Ash Wednesday and all of that.
I got you.
You know? So at this point, you know, now I'm 13, 14, I'm ready trying to find myself. And that was good for me there. So in high school, the first thing I did, I got part of the Nation of Islam. No, matter of fact, not the Nation of Islam, the 5% of the nation, because that's a different sect. I became part of the 5% of the nation.
Okay.
You know, and what ended up saying, I done changed my name. Like, I'm not eating pork now. You know, my name is Asiatic King, forever love Allah. And, you know, we dropping science and all of that while smoking weed.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, you had a need to fit in. You had a sense of belonging. Exactly. You know, you had a sense of belonging. You had a need to fit in. You know, you had found your tribe. And listen, I understand at that tender age is so necessary to have people who believe in you and want to help you, even if it's the wrong way at that particular time. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see in a few minutes why him fitting into that particular culture was prevalent in his recovery process.
Yes, yes.
Ooh, baby, listen, you still wasn't alone. He was already doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself.
Absolutely. It was, I call that the incubator stage. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through that to get to.
Come on.
And I'm going through that phase there. You know, I am learning about stuff that was factual about, you know, man-made holidays and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Where did they come from, the origin? And that's why I'm thankful for it, because that's what I still do today. It made me more analytical. Like I'm chasing this now. So I'm getting good at like interacting with them and putting on the facade like I'm okay. Right. And then couple that with these. So through high school, that's what it was. All the way up into the 10th, 11th grade. And then I started cutting class now. You know what I'm saying? I'm cutting class. I'm on a handball course. I'm on a dice court. You know what I'm saying? And now I became a what they used to call them, juvenile delinquent, right? You know, so I'm cutting class and all of that. You know, my grades is dropping, because it's crazy that I remember one day, and I got this photo album where that from junior high, from kindergarten all the way to junior high school. Right. And I looked at the report card. I don't even remember the report card when they got the U in it and the N in it, and like need satisfaction and all of that.
Yes, I do remember that.
Going down there and seeing my grade before it was in the 6th grade, it was most likely to succeed. Get to the 7th grade, it said needs improvement. They get to the 8th grade unsatisfactory. So I left junior high school, going into high school with that pattern of behavior. So when I get to high school, the whole thing is totally different. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging out with older people. I'm hanging out with people that, you know what I'm saying, they're known for their name, they're known for what they done did. And like you said, all I wanted to do was fit in. Yeah. I didn't like who I was, so I wanted to fit in. And I came from around a bunch of projects. When I grew up out in Eastern York, you had Cypress Projects, Pink Houses, Plaza, and these were well-known projects. Although the block that I came from, they were also known. You know, so this is now my world, right? My world now. And then I'm running around. And then they loving on me because I got 3 sisters that's beautiful.
Woo, right? Come on.
So everybody trying to get my sister. So that means if you befriend me, you could get closer to now probably getting with one of my sisters. So they like it to me. Then being Puerto Rican made it another plus because if we go in stores, I knew what they were saying about us. You know what I'm saying? They would say stuff, here come the thieves again. And then I could warn the crew. You know? Then we had a group of people that we called the brew crew, right? Because we drank Old English all the time.
Oh my God, not the old age. Okay, now stop right there. Stop right there, because what age were you when you picked up this Old English and these substances? Because you already, ladies and gentlemen, he described vividly the traumatic life experiences that he had that led him to behaviors acting out, grade changing in school, from being a good boy to a bad boy. And now the behavior led him to the substances, and he first called it Old English, beer. So what age was that onset?
At this point, that's 13 on up now, 13 into 17. In between that age, it was strictly marijuana, Old English, you know, different types of wines. You know, what other beer we had? We had pink. Remember pink champagne?
What about the Miller Lights? The Miller joint.
Yeah, we had the Miller Lights. So the Miller and the
Michelobes. The Michelobes.
What's the other one?
Michelob.
My family had. Oh, I can't think of it right now. It was a particular beer that they always had.
Okay, but listen to this. So this is clarity for the audience, right? So is it fair to say to the audience right now that at this tender age and young age that you are in your life, right? Somebody in the audience put Coke 45. Coke 45, was that it? They trying to guess
Coke 45, but it's another one. It's with I think it's with an S. I can't think of it.
Okay. Still reserved.
We get it. It'll come.
Okay. So listen, but the bottom line is it fair that we, let's educate the audience. And absolutely. I'll say to you, is it fair to say that there's some truth to the disease of addiction be showing up in your life before the substances through your attitudes, ideas, and behaviors?
Absolutely.
Okay. It progressed because people think that it is the substance that made them an addict.
No, not at all. Because they even talk about it. Most of us believe that the disease of addiction was present long before we started using the substance.
So we want to make that clear to the audience. This is a teaching moment that it's always about the attitudes, the ideas that you have, the way you think, and then how you act way before you pick up marijuana or whatever your drug of choice was. And a lot of times that the same thing applies to mental health problems, because some people with mental health problems think that they use substances so that they can deal with their mental health when the mental health probably was already there, and then they used and they really activated all that stuff. But it really doesn't, and this last thing I want to my last point I want to tell the audience, it really doesn't matter what came first, the chicken or the egg, mental health or substance use. Azzam done made it clear to you. It doesn't matter what came first. The truth is you got to address them both, and he'll talk about that in a little bit. So, all right. So now you smoking weed, you drinking beer, you're going in and out of jail. Now you're going into 18, 19 years old. What's happening in your life at that time?
Well, this time I'm trying to prove myself, man, because due to some molestation also that I forgot that piece there, men feeling on me and stuff like that. So I get to this age now, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm trying to be the man. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm sleeping around, and I believe I had my first child. I was 17 going on 18. You know what I'm saying? I got the first child coming in. Then I got the second child coming in. And now from 17 into 20-something years old, I'm having these children, but I'm not being responsible. I dropped out. I think I was in about 4 or 5 different high schools. Let me tell you that. Because once I get to the 11th grade and my grades start dropping, I'm thinking, okay, if I leave this high school, I might make it in another high school. But it was too late because, as you just mentioned, the behavior of the disease of addiction is now there. So I done been in now about 3 or 4 different high schools. Then I got into alternative school. I got into a school called, imagine this, the name of the school was Redirection, right? I was trying.
They giving you a hint right there. They giving you a hint. Like you got to turn
something
turn
wrong
your life around. They giving you a hint right there, son. You got to turn your life around. Stop right there. You need to be redirected.
Yeah.
And you didn't catch on. You didn't catch on.
I kept going. And then eventually I drops out, you know what I'm saying? And, I started catching charges in 84. I think I caught my first charge. But I went back and got my GED.
Right. All right. So now, so jails and institutions.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on with it.
Yeah.
So that stuff is true. So it's true, right?
Yeah. I get my GED and I think in 84, something like that. And even on that day, when I go to take my GED, of course, I got my blunt with me. I'm standing out, smoke my blunt, go in, pass it on the first try. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like one thing that I was about, regardless if I was trying to fit in, I always was educating myself in some form of fashion. That's something that I pride myself with. Like, I'm going to learn. I never did not want to learn. Even though I was trying to fit in, I was always educating myself with something. So I said, I'm at least get my GED, not knowing that that would be my fallback to fall on, right?
Okay.
Start selling weed, you know what I'm saying, around 18, 19, because what ended up happening, everybody's wearing Adidas. My mother's still buying me Pro-Cats. I'm feeling indifferent. So I said, okay, she's not going to buy it. I'm going to get it. I started getting summer jobs. I was working summer youth jobs. I started doing that. So again, I always did something that kept me midway goody.
Okay.
But then, how it says in our literature says that Dr. Jekyll died and Mr. Hyde took over.
Yeah.
When Mr. Hyde took over, that was a wrap after that. You know what I'm saying? And then now the using of movement alter chemicals, it progressed.
So explain to the audience what Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde theory is.
So the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde theory is at one point you still okay with yourself, but then somewhere along the line, because you're fighting between the two, the other one eventually wins the battle. And now that Mr. Hyde takes over. There's no more Dr. Jekyll. Mr. Hyde
takes over. Guy. In other words, the nice guy, normal self, quote, there is no normal, but we're going to use it like that. His normal, authentic self has been taken over by the disease of addiction at this tender age.
And it's full blown now.
It's fully blown now. Very good. Thank you so much for that educational moment.
Where it went from being scared to go to jail, no longer being scared to go to jail. See, the nice guy was scared to go to jail, but when Mr. Hyde took over, no longer scared. So now when I go to jail, it's okay. It became the norm, right? If we talking about this family, we talking about habits. It says early in life, man and woman creates habits. Late in life, the habits creates the man or the woman. As Dr. mentioned just now, that the drugs is gone now, but it was the behavior. It said because God bless the dead, Kalisha used to say, if drugs was the answer, what was the question?
What was the question?
Long before the drugs, you know what I'm saying? The drug was only going to masquerade the shame and the guilt now as what my life had turned out to be. Not knowing that it would take me on this vicious journey, right? And what ended up happening after that, man, I started selling drugs, watching what it's doing. And I don't like to say I became my best customer because you don't make money being your best customer.
Absolutely not.
I don't know where that saying came from. Oh, I became my best customer. No, I became toe up.
Well, that came from a small innuendo of I use my own stuff. I use stuff that I thought
You better say that. You better say that.
You know, I thought I was a drug dealer, but I started using my own stuff. I didn't pay myself for stuff I was selling. I just used my own stuff. That's what that means. I became my best customer.
Yeah,
but you didn't pay for it. You just used it and then was running if somebody gave it to you with the pack because they want their money and you ain't even got it. And now you got to go high for a couple of weeks or whatever the case may be until you get them people money because they get ready to kill you, period.
That part. There was a whole lot of that. There was a whole lot of that, man. And then when I got introduced to bass, I was probably 18 years old. So family, if y'all don't know what bass is, this is before crack and all that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I don't want to like glorify it, but it was purer than what we now have. You know what I'm saying? People was not doing the things that they do now. You can actually do it, go home, you know what I'm saying, and relax. But anyway, I don't want to glorify that, but I remember 18 trying that, like, nah, I don't want to mess with that. You know what I'm saying? But then 3 years later, when I'm 21, after getting locked up and coming back home and selling drugs again, next you know, it became a natural thing. You know what I'm saying? And then like it's just the progression. Let me just get the progression out of the way. So I went from that to now becoming a crackhead, low down, dirty crackhead, as she mentioned, drug dealers looking to kill me, other people like robbing. My mother became my first big. That's the first person I robbed. You know what I'm saying? But then next, you know, just going into the street, not coming home, not bathing, sleeping in abandoned buildings, abandoned cars, and doing whatever I need to do to get the next, collecting cans for my wake up.
Come on.
Man.
Come on. Tell the truth.
Collecting cans, you know what I'm saying? Abandoning my sons. At this point, I got 4 sons at this point, not taking care of none of them. And I'm ripping and running, going in and out of jail. And that story started, I started going to jail in 84, and it ain't stopped until 1995.
Wow.
You know, I remember, this is how bad it got. I remember being on trial in 1989, right? And I was beat up then. But because I was locked up for a while, my weight is back on. And when I'm on trial, Doc, check it out. They showed the jury the picture, and they had to do a double take because the picture that what I looked like going in was not the guy that's on stand.
Come on.
So they acquitted me because they said, yo, he couldn't have been what they saying about him. He had to be the user. And don't you know, after getting acquitted and coming out, I smoked crack again.
Wow.
I got acquitted where I could have sued them for, because when you get acquitted, if you don't know, acquitted means you were not supposed to be there. You
wasn't supposed to be charged in the first place.
Exactly. You know, because I beat everything and I got out and smoked crack again.
That's how powerful the disease of addiction is.
For another 6 years, Mr. Hyde did not let up. You know, you know what it is to get out of jail, get acquitted, and you celebrate by smoking crack.
Wow.
That's something, right?
Wow.
And then again, so let's get to this. What's the next question? I don't want to jump ahead of your question.
No, that's okay. The audience need to hear the intent and the severity.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the chronic part of the disease of addiction before the tender grace and mercy is bestowed. Yeah. And now you change. We're going to switch it over now to how you ended up in recovery. But I'm talking about how prevalent it is to explain to the audience the disease of addiction, where it started and where it ended. And you just did exactly that. So thank you so much, because today you celebrate 29 years clean, baby. That part right there. So I want you to go to that clean date. What's your clean date?
July 12th, 1995.
And how old are you now, sir?
I am 60 years old.
You ain't no 60.
I am 60 years old, right?
Okay,
you know, okay. The interesting thing is, right, I don't recall getting tired of drugs. I recall getting tired of going to jail because of drugs.
Come on.
You know, And on July 11th, 1995, and if y'all don't know, we are always praying for the still suffering addict, and they was praying. And I remember July 11th going to parole and telling the parole officer, like, yo, you don't got to check my urine. They was like, why not? I said, I'm telling you, it's dirty. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm using. Because it ain't look like it, because I'm not in the abandoned building. I got a job at this time. I'm still dressing. I'm looking good. 6 gold fronts, all that. I'm looking on the outside. I'm still, look it out. I'm perpetrating, looking like Dr. Jekyll, but Mr. Hyde is still present.
My.
Right? And for whatever reason, I think I got honest that day and told me, said, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And they told me about a detox. I didn't think I was detox. I said, nah, we got to do something different. And they let me go back home July 11, 1995. And I used all that night and reported back to parole July 12, 1995. And then they took me to Harlem.
Sure. Okay. Well, I thank Allah that you surrendered on July 11th. I'm so grateful. So that was your last day of use or your first day clean?
July 11th. My first day of not using was July 12th, 1995.
So July 11th was his day of surrender. Very good. All right. So now you went into treatment. How long did you stay in treatment?
22 months and 19 days to be exact.
Okay. Did you do was it any legal ramifications included in your treatment at that time?
Actually, yes. Because my parole officer took me there, I was mandated to the program. You know, so I was a referral through them. So now it's a mandation, but I'm actually at the end.
Okay, but stop right there because this is another nugget for the audience tonight. Azzam is specifically saying, well, it was the law that really made me go and get myself clean. He may have tried several times before the law, but it really was the PO that said, you're going to go back to jail if you don't go to treatment. And that was the track that it took for Azzam to get from 1 day to 29 days clean. That led you on the path. Am I correct?
Absolutely, because I knew I was going to go back to jail, so I had to cop immediately to the dirty urine. And
well, let me tell you why I said that, though. Let me tell you why I'm putting emphasis on the court systems, because some people don't believe that going to jail can save their lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you are the perfect. Listen, audience, I'm telling you, thank you, Naima, for joining. Hi, Miss Murphy. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you, Miss Turner. We appreciate you all. This is the God's honest truth. We know, you and I know several people, including yourself, that the court system, they went through the court system and changed their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You wasn't a willing participant. We probably would have still been out there on the street if the PO didn't say, because there was a little willingness there. You said you went to the PO, so you had to be willing.
Let me check this out. I don't know if the audience can. Let me see. It's too dark. See this document? You see this document right here? I still got it. Let me share with the audience what it says. The State of New York Executive Department, Division of Parole. Final discharge, Albany, New York, January 21st, 1996. This certified, I'm going to break my other hand, and that Frederick Fowler has this day been discharged from further jurisdiction of the Board of Parole in accordance with the provision of the law.
Oh my God.
So after going into treatment on parole being mandated, I maxed out on parole while in treatment.
So, but while you was in treatment, did they send you to those meetings?
No, the treatment made us go to meetings. H&I came in, right? H&I came in, and we had to make meetings at least 3 or 4 times out of the week, and even on our weekend pass, that's how I got introduced to the program that we involved in.
Wow.
You know? And the crazy thing that you say, right, is think of this, right? I was arrogant. Once I knew I didn't want to use drug anymore, look, Dr. Jekyll reappeared. But he was more self-righteous now, though, because let me share this story, because while in treatment, I went in July 12, 1995. On August 7th, 15th of that same year, I had an aneurysm, right, in my brain that ruptured, right? And I was bleeding internally in my brain, and I was gonna die, right? So I had brain surgery, right, on July 18th. So the doctor told me it was a direct result of either using drugs or a trauma. And through my addiction, I got busted up. You said it earlier about people busting you upside your head. A lot of that happened to me. So when I reflected on that while I was in the hospital, I knew I didn't want to use drugs anymore. But I didn't know I was still addicted to the lifestyle. You said it, right? The lifestyle was still there. So when H&I, which is, if y'all don't know what H&I is, that's called hospitals and institutions. So individuals that's locked down, other people that's in recovery, they come into these places to carry a message that we can live drug-free, that we can put down the drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. But I think my drug was the only problem. So they would come in, I would be pissed off, I would be sarcastic. They would say, yo, you ain't never got to use again no matter what. And I'd be like, yo, what is that no matter what? They said the dog dies, the wife leaves, lose the job, you don't got to use drugs over it.
Not at all.
And my son, my name was Fred no matter what.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your transparency to the audience here. But y'all already know Triple A, he drops it like it's hot all the time. That's the one thing I love about both of us. We have that in common. We don't care every time we get a chance to be free to talk about our past life and our current life. We got them mouths wide open because number one, we therapists, so we got to listen all day long. As soon as I get a chance to talk, I don't shut up. My husband be like, oh, duh, it's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. Like, but let me, the audience, they put some things in the audience. So let me see. Erica Bassett. I got clean this time by way of Philadelphia Police Department. Okay, Sister Amina. Assalamu alaikum. Congrats, brother. Good. Thank you so much. Sister Leslie says she has 45 days clean today. That's good. Congratulations. Thank you for joining. I hope that we are impacting you all. And please click like and share with someone else. Invite someone to come past, bring it to the table where we're addressing everyday people like you and me who has overcome, conquered, and survived and living beyond your dreams. Triple A, our co-host, is giving it up tonight. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm not even going to give a recap of a summary of what went on because you just been dropping nuggets. You can get clean by the law. And that's his last nugget that he dropped. So now, when did the education come into play?
Very interesting. So now I'm in treatment, right? I have the surgery. So in New York, man, it's one of the most beautiful places for resources. So if you have a substance abuse disorder, they have a program that pays for you to go back to school because of your substance abuse disorder. And the way that it started was because I wouldn't stay in the bed. They put me in the nurses department as a part of the, you had to do some type of work-related something in the program. And because I wanted to do something, I wanted to help people, I studied this book called Anatomy and Physiology because I wanted to know if I was going to have long-term brain damage or anything. And I said, I want to help people. And my first going back to school was becoming a medical assistant in 1996. You know what I'm saying? They paid for me to go to school. I became a medical assistant. And while in there, I excelled very quick in there. With that, now they wanted to make me a paralegal teacher. And at this point, I ain't have no degree. They said, well, you got to go get a degree. So at that point there, I looked into it. And then I ended up going to, at the time, it was called Audrey Cohen College. I joined Audrey Cohen College. I was going to go in there. I wanted to just get an associate. They didn't have it. So I ended up getting a bachelor's in business administration, right? And from getting a bachelor's in administration, I remember being at that point there, being in a relationship. We thought we would try to go back and get another degree together. It didn't work out that way, but I ended up staying, getting me then a master's in public administration, right? And then the story keeps going on, you know what I'm saying? And at this point, just to speed it up to now, because I see the time, right? At this point, I'm a clinical credentialed alcohol drug counselor in 2 states, in North Carolina and Kentucky. I'm a certified peer support specialist in 2 states, in North Carolina, Kentucky. And I'm also just recently completed, I'm a recovery coach professional. and that's an international credential, right? You know, and the crazy thing is this: where I used to go to jail, I now work in the jail. Right. So
come on, share the hope. Now here come the hope shot, folks. Here come the hope shot. Go on to your chair, baby.
So I work in the jail now, you know, and some of the things that has happened in my 29 years, I've been through a whole lot of deaths. I got a son I just actually came through a traumatic experience from July 2nd to July 10th. That's a traumatic time for me, right? Because my son, the last time I spoke to him was July 2nd. He got murdered July 3rd. The police held his body for about 5 days, and then we got the body back. So for July 2nd through the 10th, that's one of my traumatic experiences that I survived. I didn't pick the gun and think about doing it, right? Because Mr. Hyde, he could come back out at any given moment.
Yes.
She just mentioned, they got a saying that, listen to this, y'all, the disease always resurface. And what that means, it can resurface behavior or anything. You never know. That's why it's so important that we learn to get in touch with a God of our understanding, so it can now hopefully keep us restored, because it ain't going to change anything. But through all of this here, working in the jail right now, I work with all types of individuals now, man. And
awesome.
we talk about being unbiased, right? We get to a place where we become unbiased. The position we work in, right? It's not that we don't have biases, right? But we learn to put them aside for the well-being of helping the still sick and suffering individual, because not one of us can be so righteous that we can now put somebody or condemn somebody for their behavior. And that's what we have to learn here, you know.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Well, you heard it right here on Bring It to the Table. Boy, you guys got some nuggets today. The disease of addiction does progress, but you can put it under arrest. There is no cure for the disease of addiction. And this is going to be my last question. Where is your disease active in your life right now? Because people think it's the substance, and you vividly explain to them that, nah, I don't use drugs no more, but I do understand my disease. So where is it active? To give them an example of where your disease is active, and close with some final words to a newcomer. What would you tell a person who is
one of them, I would say, thank you. Like you said, one of them I would say is not, and it's crazy because we talk about it affect all areas of our lives. You know what I'm saying? One of the most effective ways that the disease is active right now, I would say financially, right? Financially meaning like I want a house, but I keep buying all these shoes. I want a house, but for every shoe I need a matching shirt. I want a house. So we talk about, when she said the disease of addiction, understand addiction means there's a negative consequence behind it. And sometimes we can't even see it because a trap is not made to look like a trap, right? So, and in other areas, you know what I'm saying, like being short-tempered, like in my relationship, sometimes I could be short-tempered, right? You know, here it is, I gave information out, and they hit me back with the information, and I become closed-minded.
And then be mad, say, you got the nerve to say that to me. I taught you that.
Yeah. And that's the part where you get pissed off about how dare you hit me with what I gave you.
Eat the humble pie, teacher. Eat the humble pie. You got to eat that humble pie.
So when we think of that, you know what I'm saying? And another one, right, and I was talking about this today to my group, right, where that being neglectful as a daddy, even though I'm spending time with my son and educating him, I can spend more time than I have been spending with him. I think it's okay because we're in the same house, but I don't really take out quality time. That's the disease right there. Oh, you need to go to a meeting. You need to go share your experience. That right there could be an addiction. I love sharing. I love giving information. But if you're not bringing recovery home to your house, how are you really recovering?
Absolutely. That's a good point. Thank you so much for that. That's just amazing. So for me, mine would be like a workaholic type of situation, and then justify it and try to call myself balancing my life. Oh, this is my life balance. No, it's not. Where's your self-care? Where's this? And where's, although I get up in the morning every morning.
You're hurting me. Ouch.
Bang, bang. That's because we're the same. We got private practices. We both got private practices that we want them to go where we want them to go, but we still spend time on everybody else's job, getting contracts and doing this, that, and the other, third. Boy, bye, you getting ready. Woo-wee. But guess what we're not doing, folks? We don't use dope.
That part right there.
We don't use dope. We don't use alcohol is a drug. We don't drink. We don't use dope. Guess what? And we don't even fight and argue with people no more. We surrender quietly, walk away. And if you put your hands on us, we going to court with a paid attorney. We're going to be the first one in there with a whole strategy plan to bring you down. So don't mess with us.
On speed dial.
Baby, we have returned to society as productive members. Listen, and we don't stand for the okie doke. We stand up. We don't fall for your okie doke. We stand for something.
So in my closing comment, I got two
come on, give it to
right
us.
Here, right?
Give it to us.
Look what it says. Being defeated is often a temporary condition. Giving up is what makes it permanent.
That reminds me of a good run is better than a bad stand, baby.
Oh, come on, Doc, stop playing.
I'm out of this joint. Yeah. A good, one of my sponsors told me that a good run is better than a bad stand. Go ahead, quit that job. You ain't gotta stay there and take that. No, because we know our worth today. So I ain't gotta put up with what you're putting me through, making me feel uncomfortable coming to work every day, talking your junk because you got problems with me. No, now I'm okay with sitting in the space and where other people is uncomfortable, and you just gonna have to be uncomfortable when Doc B come through because she know her stuff. And it ain't arrogant, it's confident, period. And there ain't no justification.
Oh, you better say that.
There ain't none of that.
Went through that on the job, man.
I remember you told me.
Yeah, man, they be bugging out. Like, my best interest is in the client, not in your feeling and what you think about why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Oh, right? Yeah, because we go the extra mile. They don't like those in recovery that's in the professional in the field. They don't like that. They just want us to go by the book. We don't work that way.
Yeah, we come to work with our God. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, our God is already there waiting for us to get there.
Come on in and get to doing my work. Because that's what we work for. Not we get a paycheck, but we know we got to held to a higher standard. Well, there it is, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, Azzam, on 29 years. Let's drop those hearts. Let's see that stuff. Congratulations in the comments. We really do appreciate you. Becca said she agreed with you with those shoes. She was like, yeah, those shoes, honey, in the chat. Yep, those shoes. I know, Becca. I used to be like that. I'm not like that. I'm not like that no more. They don't make no sense.
Look, I was just online trying to find a shirt to go with. Matter of fact, not that I was trying. I found it. I did it.
You need to come to the sneaker ball. Make sure you come to the sneaker ball. It's a virtual sneaker ball. Make sure you come to it. Make sure you send me your topic. Azzam is celebrating online, y'all. So if you all want to come, he will let you all know. He's going to be calling you up, giving you topics and everything. Give Freddie X my love. That's my man. Freddie X is his father. Give the family my love. We absolutely adore you. We love you. We glad that you are part of our lives. And I thank God. Thank Allah for having you as our co-host. We love you so much. Peace out. No, I don't know about next week because guess what? The grandkids is here and we're going up to Helen, Georgia. So I don't know about next week, but the week after I do have a nice Islamic couple that I'm going to bring on the show. Stay tuned. Keep checking the Bring It to the Table podcast on Facebook and our YouTube channel. We love you, Azzam, Abdul.
I got time. See us on TikTok. Azzam, me, Dad, and Dementia. If you want to share your day up, listen, come there and see the conversation that we had with the
Freddie X gonna have you rolling. I'm telling you now, he getting ready to tell you something. Third, he gonna tell you something. Better leave Freddie X alone. How about the time he broke out the house? She was like, well, why you sneak out the house? You're on the camera, Dad.
He said, really?
He said, really? I don't know. That's my man. And the other day he told you, hell no. I said, yeah.
That's right.
We love you, brother. All right. Peace out. Good night, everybody. See you in a couple of weeks.
Good work. Thank y'all for coming out. Click
Thanks
like, share. See y'all, God willing, in 2 weeks.
Congratulations, Azzam. We love you, brother.